we are going to do an exponents review. So if you had an exponent a to the n power m and a to the n power, you would add the m and the n to the base. So if a is 5 and m is 2 and n is 3, we're going to do, let me get my calculator ready. 5 to the second power and 5 to the third power. So we're going to do 5, 2 plus 3, which equals 5 to the fifth power. I have to check if that is right. I have never used this, so that looks right. So 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Okay, so it is this one right here. A M N, you're going to make into A M times n, so you're going to multiply the exponents. So we're going to do, base is 5, m is 2 times 3 equals 5 to the sixth power, and we're going to do 5. It is 15,625. For this one, you're going to distribute the a to the the m to the a and the m to the b. So we're going to do 5 squared, 5 cubed. So 5 squared is 25 times 5 cubed, which is 125. 25 times 125, 3,125. For this one, we are going to do A, B, and M, the M power. So A over B, I didn't come up with my B yet. So say it was 3/4 M, and the M was 2. We're going to do A, which is 3, over B, which is 4, to the second power to the second power. 9/16. A over A, and this one is A to the M power and A to the N power. You are going to rewrite that as AM minus N. So let's make M 3 and N 2 for this one, and we'll make the A 3. So we're going to write all of that out. And then we're going to do base M minus N is 3 or just plain old 3. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. So if A was 5, it would be A 5 to the 0 power is 1. Okay, we are going to do, we did some geometry. We are going to finish that. So we did volume of a cube. The last video, we're going to do Volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared times height. So this is our height and this is our radius right here. So say the height was 8 and the radius was 3. We would do 1/3 pi radius is 3 squared times height is 8. So we are going to figure that out. I'm going to give you a second to figure that out. And then I will do it. So the first thing I have to do is exponents. And then I'm going to do 3.14 times 9 times 8 divided by 3. And that would be in units cubed. Next one is a prism. This is a rectangular prism. We're going to do volume equals base times height times length. This is the length. This is the base. And this is the height. So you would just plug in whatever your base was. So say base was 4, height was 5, and length was 8. You're going to plug all of those in. And you're going to do 4 times 5 is 20 times 8. Volume equals 160 units cubed. Next one is a rectangular pyramid. We're going to do volume equals 1/3 length times width times height. So we have length, width, and here is my height. And say my length was 5, my width was 6, and my height was 9. I'm going to do 1/3 that. So 5 times 6 is 30 times 9. 1/3 of 270. 270 over 3. 3 goes into 27 9 times, and then you put the 0 up above. 90 units cubed. All right, a sphere. Here is the radius. Our formula for a sphere is I cannot read it. It's too small because I am old. Okay. 4/3 pi r cubed. So say our radius was 5. We're going to do 4/3 3.14 times 5 cubed. And so on the calculator, we are going to do 5 cubed first, which is 125. This is 3.14, and this is 4/3. So let me darken this. I don't think you can see it. All right, this should be better. We're going to do 3.14 times 125 equals 392.5, and we're going to multiply that by 4, which is 1570. 3 times 1 is 3, so we're going to divide it by 3. And it is a repeating decimal. Sometimes it will say that you can do that. Sometimes it'll say round to the nearest hundredth or tenth. So you would do whatever the directions say. And this is volume, and it is in units cubed. Okay, next concept. I think you know this, but we will just do it. Triangle is 3 sides. Quadrilateral is 4 sides. Pentagon is 5 sides. Hexagon is 6 sides. Heptagon is 7 sides. Octagon is 8 sides. Nonagon is 9 sides. Decagon is 10 sides. Okay, a probability of something happening is the number of ways an event can occur over the number of total possibilities. So, probability refers to the likelihood that an event will occur. A probability of 0 means it has no chance, so it is an impossibility. So, probabilities are expressed as fractions. So this would be a 3 chance out of 4, or whatever it is. And we write it like this. The probability that event A will happen is 3/4. So a real world example is the probability of an A event happening is, say the A event is that a coin will land on heads is 1 out of 2. The probability of a dice being on 4, so I'll just put a 4 here, is 1 out of 6. The probability of odd for a dice would be 3 out of 6. Okay. We did all of that already. A reciprocal. So if we had 3/4, the reciprocal would be to flip the fraction, the numerator becomes the denominator, and the denominator becomes the numerator. There are angles that we can define. So an acute angle, a right angle, and an obtuse angle. An obtuse is greater than 90 degrees. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees, and an acute is less than 90 degrees. A circle is 360 degrees. A line is 180 degrees. And parallel lines are lines that go and they never intersect. perpendicular intersect at a right angle. A polygon is a two-dimensional figure with 3 or more sides, and that is 3 triangle, 4 quadrilateral, 5 pentagon, 6 hexagon, 7 heptagon, 8 octagon, 9 nonagon, 10 decagon. A regular polygon is a polygon with all sides equal. And the type of quadrilaterals that we're going to talk about is a trapezoid, a parallelogram, a rectangle, a square, and a rhombus. So a trapezoid is defined as a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides. So we're going to look up trapezoid. And we know that a trapezoid looks like this. So it is this and a parallelogram. So the definition of a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with 2 sets of equal sides. So a parallelogram has 2 sets of equal sides, like this. So that is a parallelogram. There we go. A rectangle is 4 right angles, and that is what it has to be a rectangle. 4 right angles. A square has 4 right angles and 4 equal sides. And a rhombus, sorry Carter, has 4 equal sides. Okay, our next thing that we are going to do is, we already did those ones. Greatest common factor. So a greatest common factor is a factor of a number. It divides, it's divisible. So for this, we divide down. So for example, the factors of 12, it's anything that can go in evenly with the number 12. So can 1? Yes. Can 2? Yes. Can 3? Yes. Can 4? Yes. Can 5? No. Can 6? Yes. Can 8? No. Once you get to the halfway point, you can close it off. And then we have to make sure that it always has a rainbow. It will always have a match. The only exception to that is like the factors of 25 would be an example of this. We would have 1, 5, and 25. 5 times 5 is 25, so that would make its own rainbow. If we had, what are the greatest factors of, so let's not use this one, of 12 and 20, we're going to write factors of 20, and we're going to say 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. We're going to make sure that they have a mate. And then we're going to look, what is the greatest common factor of 12 and 20? So the greatest common factor of 12 and 20 is 4. Least common multiple. So the least common multiple is when you multiply up, and you're going to find the lowest number that set of numbers, or those two numbers, or however many they give you, share in common. So for example, if we did what's the least common multiple of 5, we're going to count up until we get to a common number that 5 and 7 share. Now, some people have a shortcut of just multiplying those together, and that can be true, but sometimes it's not. So we just count up. So in this case, it is true. We circle it, and our least common multiple is 35. Okay, a prime number is a number whose only factor is itself and 1. 2 is the smallest prime number. Some people think that it means that they are odd, but that is not true. So we have to just look and say which numbers are prime and which are composite. Composite means that they have a number that has at least 3 factors, so 3 factors or more. So we're going to say, what are the factors of 3? 1 and 3, so that would make it a prime number. 4, 1, 2, and 4, so that would make it composite. 5 is 1 and 5, so that would make it prime. 6 is 1, 2, 3, and 6, so that would make it composite. 7 is 1 and 7, that would make it prime. 8 composite, and 9 is 1, 3, and 9, so that would be I put prime, composite. Okay, so we're going to go over the properties. Properties are associative, commutative, identity, inverse, and distributive. So associative, remember we have our bad word in parentheses, so this means that the parentheses change. And an example of that is A plus B plus C equals A plus B plus C. So in this, the order stays the same. It is the parentheses that change. It doesn't matter if you and I are communicating who goes first, we're still communicating, so that's how to remember this. The order changes in commutative property. So A plus B plus C equals B plus C plus A. The order changes. With identity, A times 1 equals A. So example, 5 times 1 equals 5. A plus 0 equals A. An example is 5 plus 0. So this is the identity of multiplication. This is the identity of addition. inverse. So a plus negative a equals 0, and a real life example is 3 plus negative 3 equals 0. So that's the inverse of addition. The inverse of multiplication is a times 1 over a equals 1, and a cannot equal 0. A real life example is 4 times 1 over 4 equals 1, and obviously if it was a times 1 over 0, that would not make sense. So this can only be a real number, not a 0. Okay, distributive is a times b plus c equals a plus b plus a times c. A plus b times c equals a times c plus b times c. So anything that is outside the parentheses gets distributed inside the parentheses, like this would be 5 times 3 plus 5 times 6. So it would be 15 plus 30, or 45. Okay. Multiplication. If a equals b, then a times c equals b times c. This is the property of multiplication. And an example of this is 5 equals 2 plus 3. So 5 times 4 equals 2 plus 3 times 4. So a equals b. So for this one, I have 5 equals 2 plus 3. So 5 times 4 equals b plus c times 4. The fundamental property of division is if a equals b, then a over c equals b over c. And in this case, c cannot equal 0. So 12 equals 3 times 4. So 12 over 6 equals 3 times 4 divided by 6. Okay, let's go over natural numbers. So a natural number is the counting numbers of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. That is a natural number. A whole number is all the natural numbers, but it includes 0. An integer is a whole number. Integer. Misspelled that. Is the whole number, all of the whole numbers, plus, not 0. Yes, 0. And then -1, +1. -2, +2. -3, +3, to infinity. Okay, a rational number is the numbers that can be expressed as a fraction. Irrational are numbers that cannot be expressed as a fraction. So I am going to do rational number examples. A rational number is any number that can be expressed as a fraction. 0.1, 0.48, -4/6, 0.41, 0.333, -0.5, 4/8. Whole numbers, here we go. There we go. So you can take a look at that. You can draw that if you would like. I will leave it up. And you are done, my friend.